All I needed was one big break, one huge, game-changing theory to win me back the love of my life. And that's when she walked in. You could tell just by looking at her that this was a girl with secrets to hide.
Are you the Theorist?
Clearly, she had not read the sign on my door. Or maybe she was just playing dumb. There was no way to tell.
Well, are you? I mean, you're just kind of staring at me, muttering under your breath.
Oh, sorry, got caught up in monologuing. Yeah, that's me. You looking for a theory?
There's been a murder, and I need you to solve it.
Great. We talking Sonic? Demonic? Animatronic?
Pocket.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Style Theory, the channel that serves you beauty and brains. If you're here, then congratulations, you are part of history. You are one of the first people to not only see this episode, but also the final channel to complete the great Theorist wheel. Game, film, food, and now style. Four kingdoms living together in harmony like Avatar. You know what's even cooler than watching a single video, though? Being one of the first to subscribe to that new channel. Claim it, because then you could say you've been here since day one. Also, while you're down there doing me a favor, let me run a quick poll. Hit the like button if you've never had to think about the size of your pockets. If you just hit that like button, then you are a lucky person, and also probably a dude. You see, when I first pitched the idea of dedicating our next channel to style and fashion, all the female members of Team Theorist jumped up and insisted that we do an episode about the size of women's pockets. They insisted that women's pockets are not only smaller than men's, but are in fact so small that they've become completely useless. At the time, I didn't really get what the big deal was. But loyal Theorists, now that I've done the research, I can tell you that this conspiracy goes deep, unlike women's pockets. You see, the systemic murder of women's pockets is simultaneously a mystery and a cover-up. A conspiracy to hide the truth behind flashy trends and pretty faces, all while the big guys in their shadowy rooms with their even bigger pockets, figurative pockets this time, pull the strings behind runway curtains. So, who stands to win big when women are losing precious inches of personal storage freedom? Before we can break down our suspects, we need to understand where this pocket problem first started. The first record of anything relating to a pocket dates back to Otzi, also known as the Iceman, Europe's oldest natural mummy from around 3350 to 3105 BC. His body was found preserved wearing a belt with an attached pouch, making him one of, if not the, oldest example of what I personally call ye olde fanny pack. And while Otzi was the first, he definitely wasn't the last. This type of belt-pouch combo was typical for centuries around the world. In Japan, you saw pouches attached to sashes around the waist. In Europe, this style developed into what's commonly referred to as tie-on pockets. Even in the New World, decorative bags were very common amongst the indigenous Americans. And boy, did these babies hold a lot. Stand aside their cargo pants, you can't hold a candle to the amount of candles I'm stuffing into these bad boys. Because of how functional they were, these tie-on bags were worn by both men and women at the time. There was just one problem. Loosely tied, hanging bags make it way too easy for pickpockets to run away with all your belongings. In fact, the Old Bailey Criminal Database, which tracks old London crimes, has an absolutely staggering 113 pages of search results for just pickpocketing alone. And mind you, these are the people who were caught. Have to leave the house, pack your pockets, and prepare for crime. Clearly, there needed to be a better solution. So what's the answer to all this petty pocket thievery? Inside pockets. Pockets started to migrate into and under your clothing. And this, loyal Theorists, is where the great pocket divide begins. Depending on your source, the late 1600s to early 1700s is generally considered the breaking point for pocket equality. Men's pockets moved into their clothes, being sewn into their pants, coats, and pretty much wherever. Women, however, were left to tie their pockets to their waists, with two options: either above their outfits for easy reach, or under their petticoats for privacy, but with little access to their personal effects. If you went with the under the petticoat option, you were either lucky enough to have a slit built into your skirt in order to get to your things, or you were left searching for a place to strip down to your skivvies just to reach your keys. But why? Why would fashion diverge like this? Who's responsible? Send in the suspects, boys. 3 suspects, 3 potential pocket perps. Let's look at them one at a time, shall we? Suspect number 1, style. The trends. The fashion darling. Were pockets simply too last century for the modern-day stylish woman? Well, around the late 18th century, the French Revolution caused a wave of changes to clothes of all kinds, as what you wore suddenly was seen as a political statement. The large, voluminous skirts that used to be popular were associated with the old regime, and thus quickly went out of fashion. I wonder why you wouldn't want to be associated with the old regime during the French Revolution. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Nothing like the risk of being beheaded to get you to refresh your wardrobe. Waistlines raised, skirts and dresses slimmed down, and in the midst of all this evolution, women's pockets had nowhere to go. Men's pockets, however, were doing just fine. Despite men's fashion also settling into a sleeker style during this period, pockets were deemed a necessity for their clothes. And somehow they found a way to be both flattering and functional. Go figure, it can be done if you just try. Even these pants, which, are these even pants? Well, even these quote-unquote pants have themselves a pocket built in for the men, but not the women. Why the double standard? Bulges. Nope, not like that. Well, actually, yeah, kind of like that. You see, it was considered unattractive to break up the clean lines of a woman's dress. It was also a sign of status to have nothing to carry, as women didn't own property or have their own money. Their husbands did. Well, there were still some tie-on pockets working with the higher waistline, and some small pockets only large enough to fit a handkerchief. Women needed to find other means of carrying their stuff. And that fashion trend has largely persisted since. Let's look at everyone's favorite staple, skinny jeans. Back in the early 2000s, you could not escape these bad boys. And I mean it, you literally could not escape them. Have you ever tried peeling yourself out of a pair of extra tight skinny jeans at the end of a long day? It's like skinning a sausage. But enough about my past traumas, let's go back to pockets. Men's skinny jeans have themselves deep functional pockets, while women can barely fit half their hand in, let alone most phones these days. When the iPhone 6 was announced, people wrote multiple articles about whether or not the phone would be able to fit in the pockets of women's clothing. In fact, this study showed that women's pockets are on average 48% shorter and 6.5% narrower than the respective men's pockets. Might not seem like a lot, but size starts to matter real fast once you start talking about fits. Speaking of your looks, you want to know an amazing accessory that'll never ruin your silhouette and fit into a pocket of any size? A subscription to this channel. It goes with any outfit and will never go out of style. Plus, you can help support a brand new channel. Isn't that beautiful? So go ahead, click that subscribe button so you can be notified of all our newest, weirdest theories. Did you know that spray-on dresses are a thing nowadays? It is like one of the wildest things I've ever seen, and it truly represents the future of fashion. That theory is coming up in the next couple of weeks, so if you want to check it out, that subscribe button is going to help you to do that. In the meantime, though, let's get back to the pockets, shall we? With all this talk about carrying things, it's time to look at suspect number 2 for who potentially killed pockets, the purse industry. Whether you call it a purse, a pocketbook, or a handbag, it all leads back to the same thing, money. If you can't carry something in your pocket, you have to put it somewhere else. And that's exactly what happened. When pockets started to go out of fashion in popular society, what entered the scene was a little item called the reticule. And I do mean little item. Look at this thing, it's so teeny. I suppose you could say that it's so small, it's ridiculous. Am I right? I am so sorry, I am so ashamed of my actions. These small decorative bags could barely fit, well, anything. Women went from being able to carry a lot with little effort to having everything shrink to fit the meager space of a glorified coin purse. If they didn't mind having their items on display for everyone to see, they could always utilize a chatelaine, a decorative waist chain that leaves nothing to the imagination. According to this illustration from 1849, it was the best present for ladies of the time due to its multiple uses. I guess I know what I'm getting Steph and Ollie for Christmas this year. From their first big introduction, bags only became more and more of a mainstay in a woman's wardrobe. Fashion houses quickly took to the idea, with Louis Vuitton giving bags structure, size, and more durability. This new handbag spoke to a need in the market, a need for independence that had been lost when the large pockets of the past first disappeared. But with new options and a whole new market opened up, who needed pockets? Now, you could get a woman to pay for an outfit and the accompanying bag to hold her things. Sure, it was a necessity, but it was also a fashion statement and a symbol of status. The style, brand name, and size of the bag would tell someone everything you wanted them to know about you. Remember the reticule? It was decorative, fancy. It was designed to show off. You weren't working class lugging around a bunch of heavy things. You had like a Tic Tac in there or something. You didn't need to get your hands dirty. A bag meant that you were someone of value. But once everyone has themselves a bag, how do you differentiate yourself? Well, with bigger brands and higher price tags. In 2021, the global handbag market's valued at $49 billion and growing. People now buy handbags as investment pieces, choosing to invest their money in the handbag stock market over Wall Street. I'm not even joking about that. Why invest in GameStop when you can have yourself a $1.9 million Birkin bag? In the first 9 months of 2022 alone, LVMH, the corporation behind brands like Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, and Fendi, earned around $60 billion in the US, with nearly half of that being from fashion and leather goods. The world's most expensive handbag is currently valued at $3 $3.8 million. We are talking about some Scrooge McDuckian levels of money all wrapped up in a fancy designer bag. If that ain't motive to keep women's pockets shallow, I don't know what is. And since we're on the topic of motive, it's time to reveal suspect number 3, the man, the Brojack Horsemans of the world. Now, before anyone starts a flame war down in the comments, this isn't coming from me. This is coming from historical documentation written by people far smarter than me. You see, it's hard to talk about pockets without also mentioning our favorite frenemy, politics. It's always there, lurking in the background like some kind of certified creeper. And politics are everywhere when it comes to fashion. Let's lay out the case, shall we? If we rewind back to the late 18th century, when style was shifting to slim silhouettes, politics was there whispering in its ear, if women had the space to carry so much, what else could they carry? Money, secrets, independence? And that's not an exaggeration here either. Criminal reports from this era listed women using their pockets to do everything from shoplifting to stealing neighborhood ducks to plotting the assassination of major political figures. No joke, Cécile Renaud, a royalist, was executed for attempting to kill Maximilien Robespierre, a key figure during the French Revolution, using a set of penknives that she hid in her, you guessed it, pockets. And so suddenly there was a strong political motivation for the key decision makers to make pockets go the way of the dinosaurs and super low-rise jeans. Suddenly, pockets became a symbol of revolution. In the 1800s, an organization called the Rational Dress Society attempted to protest against the current fashions they viewed as constricting and impractical. They and other members of the Victorian dress reform movement wanted their clothes to reflect the freedom that they wanted. Their main points of order focused mainly on the popular corsets and skirts of the time, opting to push for looser styles, boneless stays, and most importantly of all, pants. Bicycle costumes and bloomer suits suddenly gave women pockets for resting their hands and pistols in. Seriously, they were called pistol pockets, special pockets lined with duck or leather to contain and conceal small firearms. While that might not have hit mainstream, it did open a door for the future. The suffragette movement and the world wars sparked another wave of pocket rebellion. With the men off at war, masculine fashions became the norm for working women. The suffragette suit was a multi-pocket slap to the face of societal expectation and had one of the more fun historical fashions known best as secret pants. Pants that give the illusion of wearing a long skirt while allowing you the freedom of movement and storage of pants. In short, pants and their respective pockets meant rebellion. And to politics, nothing is scarier than something that breaks the mold. But when the wars were over, women were expected to fall back and hand over their pants and pockets to their husbands. Except they suddenly realized how fun and nice and useful all of those things were. So there you have it, my friends, 3 suspects. And as you might have figured out, the murder of pockets wasn't just a one-man job. It was a group effort. All 3 forces working together to do the deed. So after almost 200 years of pocket wars, where do we stand? Fake and shallow pockets still plague women's clothing. Is it inevitable that pockets remain a luxury just for men? Well, it doesn't have to be that way. Honestly, it's up to you, the buyer. Your money is what's gonna shape the future of pockets. Capitalism, am I right? Much like the suffragettes with their suits, modern women's fashion is working to take back pockets, with smaller fashion brands taking a stand and inserting portable personal storage into their outfits. Having pockets has now become a main selling feature for women's dresses, and fitting fully functional storage into stylish silhouettes is how up-and-coming designers are making a name for themselves. It's a revolution using the weapon companies fear the most, not pistol pockets, the almighty dollar. If you buy it and show the fashion industry that you demand equal pockets, they're gonna have to listen, or else they're gonna watch as their bank account shrinks to the size of a skinny jeans pocket, a women's skinny jean pocket. And listen, I'm not here to tell you what to wear. I fully believe fashion is one of the biggest ways to express yourself. Whether you prefer a bodycon dress or an oversized tee, whether you love to collect designer bags or make your partner carry all your stuff, fashion is freedom, and people deserve to be able to choose pockets, no matter their gender. So the next time you compliment a woman's outfit and they happily exclaim, "Thanks, it has pockets," celebrate with them, knowing just how long it took them to get there. And that, my friends, is the power of a pocket. But hey, that's just a theory. A style theory. Keep looking sharp. By the way, if you think pockets are the only interesting thing about a pair of pants, then you need to check out our other new episode that we just uploaded breaking down what the Hulk's pants would really be made of to survive his supersized transformation. Spoiler alert, it's not spandex, and what they're made out of is gonna be real expensive. That video's on screen right now. Go click it. It is binge watch day, baby. We got ourselves a new channel and we got 5 videos to celebrate all at the same time. So go watch them all. Complete the watch circle.